Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So Tesla's Q2 data. Yes, it was awesome financially. They blew away all expectations. I only have a few quick points that I want to cover. And the way I handle these quarterly reports is I like to take it in the peace and quiet of my own home. I don't obviously cover it right away because look, there are enough other people that are streaming it. Tesla puts it directly out for you to consume. And I like to kind of relax and just take it all in without having to share it. Because look, if you want it right away, there are enough other people that are going to give it to you. I don't feel like I need to be another voice that's live streaming it or trying to get you that data immediately. But I thought this tweet from Warren Redlick summed it up pretty well. You've probably already read it by now. And it is the Mariana, not Marianas Trench, but very good tweet here. But just real quick, a couple of my key takeaways. So the energy gross margin flipped positive from being about negative 20% last quarter to positive 2.5% this quarter. This is great news, driven mainly by Megapacks and the new profit margins there. A key point to remember is that as stellar as the automotive side was with those 25.8% auto gross margins ex regulatory credits, that was without any real significant Model S or X sales. I think they only included maybe 1,900 deliveries, so that is very encouraging for the back half of this year. So they said no Semi until 2022. The Model Y will be first at Giga Austin and Giga Berlin, then followed by Cybertruck after that. Elon did mention that this is an EV inflection point, so the demand for electric vehicles at scale is at a point on that S-curve on the way up, which I think a lot of us already knew. But if I had to pick out two big negatives, so Elon was very cautious when it comes to the 4680s. In the slide deck, they had that very positive blurb that they were figuring things out and basically reiterating that last 10% of manufacturing challenges that they're working with. But when they toned down the expectations for production of cells, internal production, instead of being 100 gigawatt hours for 2022, it's now a 100 gigawatt hour run rate by the end of 2022. So that was definitely a step back from prior expectations. And I think a lot of Wall Street was looking for more information on the full self-driving, on the subscription, on the take rates, on the progress, and a new timeline for actual robotaxis. It feels like Wall Street is putting so much emphasis on true robotaxi, autonomy, and full self-driving, but I think everybody needs to get a hold on expectations that might be a few years into the future. And so more of a focus should be on the software as a service, and you can't really focus on that too much until that wide beta release or the button comes into play, which hopefully we see relatively soon. And honestly, this next part was really just for me because this is a trend that I have seen for months now. The battery industry shifting to more iron batteries, the LFP version, moving away from nickel. Elon said he thinks that 2/3 of batteries will be LFP and the remaining 1/3 would be nickel, mainly only for like long range vehicles, and that pretty much all of stationary energy storage will be the LFP variant battery type. So I personally enjoyed hearing that because I had seen that trend happening, and then ultimately Elon confirmed it. And as you can see, Tesla stock down about 2.8% so far on the day, but the overall macro, as you can see, there are a lot of companies in red. The NASDAQ itself was down 2%, the S&P is down 1%. So macro view, negative for today. And also, as you can see, this white line is the 200 period moving average for Tesla. The way the stock market works, basically stocks swing away from, and then back to their 200-day moving average. The stock market really just moves in cycles. But I'm only sharing this because if you're somebody that's wondering or trying to find a reason, something in the report that says why Tesla should be down about 3% today, there really isn't anything specific, and it's through that lens of the macro space. So, it is what it is. I think if you had to pin it on something, I would say lack of full self-driving guidance and robotaxi status, and maybe some caution around the 4680 production. But other than that, like I said, the numbers were stellar, absolutely outstanding. Overall, they crushed the quarter, crushed expectations. So that's very strong. And honestly, I think the back half of 2021 is going to be crazy numbers with more S and X sales, with more ramping at Giga Austin and even Fremont a little bit with the Model Y. So very bullish overall. And this was a great tweet from Rob. So Tesla recognized about $1 billion of CEO compensation over the past 12 months, which made up about 3% of revenue. And Tesla only has to recognize another $500 million from that original compensation plan, which will be less than 1% of the next 12 months of revenue. and he said this is not well understood. So basically Tesla having to recognize less of this payment to Elon over the next 12 months and only having $500 million left in that plan. This is definitely a positive catalyst over the next 12 months and definitely not well understood. And I think that this news bit was drastically overlooked over the last few days. So basically Elon is saying if Tesla is able to succeed with imported vehicles in India, then a factory in India is quite likely. So basically what we've been saying is if the initial demand in India for Tesla is strong enough, given the import taxes and all of that situation, then Tesla will most likely build a factory to presumably manufacture vehicles in India. So we might get an announcement sometime in the next 12 months on Tesla expanding into India with an actual factory to manufacture vehicles, which would be a very big deal in my opinion. And I saw this video over the weekend, maybe you missed it, so I wanted to share it in case, but somebody in China driving through a pretty significant amount of water. As you can see, it's splashing up on the hood of the vehicle. Definitely not recommended, but once again, in the event of a bind, it looks like it's doing pretty well. Now you can kind of get a gauge for how high the water is. I guess for me, I would like to see another car trying to do a similar feat, one that's comparable to a Model 3 or a Model Y, just to see if the other car can move like the Tesla can. I guess, of course, with the Tesla having the center of gravity and maybe being a little bit heavier, that kind of keeps it gripped to the road so it can move through the water better than another car. But let me know if that train of thought is completely off base, because it certainly might be. Someone asked Elon if there's any chance of getting lithium-ion 12-volt batteries when replacing the lead-acid batteries in their current Model 3 and Model Ys, to which Elon said, "We will try. It's preferable for Tesla as well, as they last so long. Unlike other makers of cars, Tesla's goal is not to profit from service. The best service is not needing service in the first place." Just one more thing that I love about Tesla, because I used to work at Honda years ago. I was only there for 3 weeks, but everybody knows that the ICE industry tries to profit from service. They make more money from service than they do selling new cars, generally speaking. So there you go. And if you guys remember this debacle with the New York government and Revel, and they're trying to get a Tesla Model Y taxi service fleet, we have some more news. So Revel executives said they plan to launch the service August 2nd with 50 baby blue Tesla Model Y SUVs. Revel execs say they've received 49 TLC approved license plates for their 50 cars, and 15 of them have been inspected and are allowed to hit the streets next week. So I'm sure that initial decision by the TLC to block this from Revel caused a lot of uproar, and now it looks like it was finally approved. So Revel and their Model Y fleet is good to go. If you want to learn more about that situation, I have the video linked above. More on the topic. Now, this is something I want to hear from you guys about. I want to hear from you guys all the time, but this specifically. So Elon mentioned that he's no longer going to be on the earnings calls unless it's something really important. So do you guys think that Elon's heart is now really lying with SpaceX and the operations there, more so than Tesla, or everybody is looking too far into this specific quote from Elon? And look, before anybody starts panicking out there, no matter what Elon does from here on out, I do not think we need to worry. He's consciously going to be making decisions on how to spend his time. If he is spending more time on SpaceX, then he obviously feels very confident with where Tesla is. They have so much talent at Tesla, and a lot of times all of that success is attributed only to Elon, which really is not a good thing. Like, there are so many people that should be getting way more credit than they are. It's just that Elon is Tesla, at least to the public, but we all need to remember how much insane talent is at Tesla outside of just Elon. So he'll always be working with Tesla to some degree, but even if he spends more time at SpaceX, it is not a need for concern. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Is Elon more focused on SpaceX at this point? And this tweet from Paul Merrick: Tesla is back at the Nürburgring, this time trying to beat the Taycan 742 lap time. Expectations are that they will. I do want to clarify, it's not like guaranteed that this is actually Tesla trying to do this. This just could be a Tesla owner trying to do this, or some sort of third-party group. But either way, hopefully the Plaid can break the Taycan's lap record, which was from 2 years ago. So people are talking maybe 725 is a realistic time, given the mods that they do to the car. There's also a lot of chatter out there about Tesla and ships and planes, but I just want to point out that Elon said, I'm not saying Tesla will do aircraft. So just because he talks about electric boats and electric planes doesn't mean that Tesla has plans to do it. Now, sure, I might be sitting here in the year 2030 talking about the newest Tesla boat, and who knows, maybe a Tesla plane as well. But in the short term, I would not at all invest based on expecting Tesla to get into those industries, nor as a fan would I expect Tesla to talk about a legitimate aircraft or even a boat anytime in the next 5 years. I think Elon just thinks like this, but that doesn't mean they're going to start executing because they have way too much to focus on already. Not to be a wet blanket, but just my 2 cents. And for those of you that may be worried about the white seats, I like this anecdote. Somebody spilled sweet and sour sauce and they said it came right up, no stains. Most people just use baby wipes, but this person in particular used a damp kitchen towel. So they hold up and clean up pretty well if you do it right away. And real quick, if you remember that 1 week delay for some of these Plaid Model S deliveries, well, apparently that has been lifted. Everything is back to normal. Customers are receiving their cars. Sadly, we didn't learn why or what was really going on, but nothing to worry about at all. Everything is moving forward. And the last thing for today, I just wanted to remind all of you that on the call, Drew said that they think that other automakers using the Tesla Supercharger network will be an overall net positive. As I have been saying for the last few days, it's going to allow them to expand more superchargers faster than they would have. They will, of course, be able to generate more revenue. They are going to charge other cars that charge slower a little bit more. We didn't get a ton of detail, but it does look like they will have adapters for the North American market at the site or available for people to purchase depending on if people steal them or not. So we'll see, but overall positive thing for Tesla because these other users are now going to be downloading a Tesla app to charge at a Tesla supercharger. More marketing for Tesla. Ultimately, I think it will drive more Tesla sales. But that is all for today. Please take a second to like the video if you did. A major thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, and I hope you guys have a great night.